Pleasure to be here at Microsoft's Building the Future 2023. We're very excited to be here and be able to share something we're very passionate about. The Center of Excellence mission is to bring together our global resources, our industry, business, and technology experts, our solutions, assets, and accelerators, and go to our clients and help them tackle their biggest challenges and their biggest pain points on their transformation journeys. Another part of this mission is to conduct market research and stay ahead of the trends and produce thought leadership. And in this regard, we bring you this presentation today. We did a joint study with HFS Research on the adoption of low-code. We interviewed a number of tech leaders and business leaders from global 2,000 companies. And we're going to share some of the key insights we gathered from this study with you. I hope it's relevant for you and it sets the scene for the further discussions this afternoon. To guide us through this brilliant piece of information, this comprehensive study that involved a number of interviews, queries, surveys, digital roundtables with these leaders, I have with me my good friend, Ralph Diaz from HFS Research. Over to you, Ralph.
Bruno. So yeah, pleasure to be here. And as Bruno mentioned, this is pretty much a quick snapshot of a 4 or 5 month cycle research. As he mentioned, surveyed a lot of clients across industries, survey executive that deals with low code in some capacity, from business process owner, low code platform owner, automation leads. So usually those type of personas who run low code across the organization. And yeah, so we're just going to show you quickly what we've seen. And really when you look at the hype around low code, low code is not about citizen developer from day one, having an amazing tool, start producing enterprise grade application that goes straight outside the company and do business, yeah? I think it's an amazing trend that happened, I would say, 3-4 years ago, where it picked up quite a lot. But I think low-code tools are not about citizen developer. Yeah, so this hype around this is where it's going to go. Absolutely, it's a long tail of the low-code adoption. It will happen one day, hopefully quite soon. And with the new development we've seen here, clearly there is an acceleration in terms of citizen developer, power users, people with a lot of IT acumen sitting in business function, adopting more and more this type of solution. But we're not there yet. 91% of low-code investments come from technology teams. Low-code tech are used by technology teams to speed development. And I would say speed development, really trying to bring an idea from the business quickly into the development pipeline. That's already a big benefit from IT functions. Collaborate more effectively with business user. That platform now offer an end-to-end cycle of ideation, then through a backlog, and where you really tech team can start prototyping something, work with the business, so it has drastically increased collaboration between business and IT function. And last but not least, really to better serve the business. When a business needs to have an application that serves a specific purpose, which needs to be quite immediate, they're not going to wait through the entire system development lifecycle to get a new feature added to an app. And this drastically accelerates the delivery of targeted apps. And we're going to see exactly what do I mean by that. But clearly, there have been still a tech-led investment, tech-led usage of low code. Investment in low code is going through the roof in the next 3 years. Research indicates a 50% increase in low code software spending by 2024. Spending in software, but also spending in services. We see way more service providers orchestrating a low code portfolio of services to help clients adopting better those low code solutions. 48% say that really the primary driver is to accelerate digital innovation, while obviously clearing the whole IT backlog. So IT function have been always pushed or always pressured to deliver on a huge backlog. I think that's an amazing tool they have now in their hand to deliver certain kind of apps, not enterprise grade yet, but certain kinds of apps, and better serve the business ultimately. And last but not least, really it has been an amazing way of getting closer to the business, starting small, doing a prototype, understand the requirements, and then scaling fast with those use of low code where, because you're already kind of governed by a structure of development. We can quickly bring an ideation back to design, dev, and moving quickly to production. That also has been a big driver. Now the bad news, 62% really indicate a lack of training. I think the hype meant that these solutions have been purchased thinking that by magic people are going to start using them. They forgot also that this is an application required proper training, not only on the usage of the application, but on the usage of the development cycle. So putting citizen developer without really an IT acumen in the whole life cycle, thinking that they're going to build app by dragging and drop objects, is a great concept, but putting it in practice has been quite difficult because of a lack of training and proper investment. And clearly we see that more and more investment are going to go through empowering users, training them to be way more efficient. 38% really say that it is essential, low code, to actually migrating to the cloud. 38% think that it's actually a very valid alternative to developing application in the clouds. We're going to see more and more usage of microservices across the organization, and low code can be an amazing engine to orchestrate those microservices, put a UI on top of it, and actually creating apps that are bulletproof by design, because those microservices bring the whole governance, security, compliance by design. And low code is going to be pretty much an enabler and orchestrator of those microservices. And that's really what 40% actually highlighted.
So it's an accelerator for transformation, but it also has some caveats that we need to...
Exactly. It accelerates, but it needs to be properly embedded. And it doesn't come without investment, not only in tech. You need to invest on employees, how they actually embrace this technology. Yeah?
Okay, awesome, cool. Some of the key drivers for adoption of low code, and this is very interesting, we got two different types of feedback from the business and tech leads we've interviewed and spoken to. Of course, on the higher end, we see, as you mentioned before, of a great drive by IT teams and tech teams to adopt low code in order to reduce their IT backlog, be able to better meet the demand from the business, be able to increase the responsiveness of IT to business ever-changing business requirements, and this ties in very well with the low-code value proposition. We're also seeing a lot in our clients, in our client engagements, where we're leveraging low-code to accelerate their transformation, that there is an initial skepticism, but then after we go through the first point of view, the first MVP, minimum viable product, then the buy-in is ensured, both from IT, that are more sensitive to this, and also from the business. And they see the value, and this becomes a feeding loop to promote innovation, continuous innovation to build more and faster, right? Yeah, ultimately, they see that it accelerates digital innovation and transformation across the business. On the business side, it's also very interesting. They want to reduce dependency on hard-to-hire technical skills. They want to be able to upskill and reskill quicker. Low code allows you to do so. And they also want to enable their own power users, their citizen developers, to be able to use the technology to increase their operational efficiency, their own internal processes, their interdepartmental needs, without having to rely on hardcore IT teams. But doesn't necessarily mean that the hardcore IT teams need to go away, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cool. There is, although we're not there yet, there is a desire to ramp up the business with these kinds of platforms, and the way to move forward with this is through training, support, enablement, as you were mentioning, right?
Yep. Yeah, so we compiled here a bit of high level, really what does make sense, what doesn't make sense at all, yeah, and really in plain English, yeah. Low code lets everyone create apps, not everyone. That's what we again said. It allowed people with the right knowledge of those solutions, with a proper IT acumen. And the new generation actually come by design with already this natively good digitally. So we're going to see with the evolution of the employee workforce, we're going to see more and more people embracing it by design, because they already, even business users want to touch it. But again, I think not everyone can create apps. It required proper governance, proper processes to enable that. Citizen developers are the future of the company. Probably in the future, yeah. But right now it's not happening. We didn't see huge use cases where citizen developer have actually started to create enterprise-grade apps, customer-facing apps. It started. Absolutely, we see initiative, some of them badly run, others with a bit more success, but clearly a lot of investment have gone through this, and we don't see for now this huge return, and it might be because they didn't took it really seriously around investment in training, education, but we clearly see a trend now where companies are waking up and are finally starting to do really enterprise level citizen developer program, but it didn't happen yet. Low code is easy. Is easy when you actually grasp the mechanic behind building, reusing components, configuring apps with building blocks, understanding a system development lifecycle. It becomes easy, but again, it's back into the training and empowering that you need to do at the user level. Low code is the end. It's not, I think there is an error. Low code is the end of high code. Absolutely not. Actually, we see way more. We see actually a lot of companies doing more high code even, and still pushing a lot low code. It's not going to disappear. You can't really develop or maintain an enterprise application without having proper coding knowledge in certain language, being an SAP, ABAP, going back to Java skills. It's not going to happen. So it's not going to kill high code. IT function, don't need to get scared about low code. I think the two are going to coexist pretty much well. Low code isn't robust? Absolutely not. I think if I would gone 5-6 years ago, I would have said a lot of these top class platforms were actually lacking of a lot of security, governance, change management. A lot of auditors didn't place reliance on a low code application, and they will get used to the proper system development lifecycle. And now we see more and more, I think by design, those solutions are enterprise grade. Auditors rely on them, the big ones. So they are very robust solution allowing you to build following really a framework and governed by a lot of rules and controls. So definitely way more robust than what you think. What doesn't make sense? What does make sense? Well, you still need to go through the entire process of developing an app. It doesn't go away. You still need obviously the planning, the framing, the coding, the testing, the integration, the quality control, the release cycle. It's not going to go away. It's going to be way more agile depending on your governance framework, but it's still there. Citizen developer or citizen configurator are, again, as we say, the long tail of the process. We're going to see much more in the next years, specifically with new solution that we're not going to name here, but really allowing right now business user to start querying some solution and some application out there start generating a lot of knowledge for them. We're going to see more and more these combined with low code, also upskilling quickly those users. Moving to composer application, data container is the future, as I said. The value lies really in trying to remove those monolithic blocks of legacy applications slowly but surely into a low-code platform, cloud-ready, and then also way more attractive from user interface, user experience. And I think that's already a big thing we're gonna be seeing. Low-code hype cycle. Be aware, not every vendor is the same. You have vendors that brag that they can deliver a lot of stuff at enterprise level, not happening at all. I say you have really few vendors that actually are proving that they can do that. Primary driver for spending on low code is the promise to speed to develop application for your employee customer. Absolutely. I think the speed to value, that's pretty much the key driver, and what all these executives have said. It allows me to deliver way more faster certain type of apps and actually please the business, but ultimately improve customer experience because you bring also way faster those solutions to your market.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing with our clients. The speed at which they can build, evolve, it's groundbreaking.
Absolutely.
Very quickly, some key stats from the latest digital roundtable with these leaders. So where did we get the most value out of low code? Faster delivery and the ability to prototype and validate ideas very, very quickly. As I mentioned before, the business sees the value very, very quickly, and this increases their buy-in, and it feeds their innovation loop. So they basically get excited, and they start generating more ideas, asking the IT teams for more apps, and then this creates another problem, which is on the demand side and the capability side, which is a very interesting phenomena. So governance takes a very important role here, centers of excellence, and the proper sourcing models to increase those capabilities. The development of internal-facing productivity apps, this is really, really cool. we saw earlier today an example of, actually yesterday, a male nurse that built his own app for his own needs. And we see a lot of potential here on this area as well, and this is a key driver for adoption.
Yep.
Automation of existing processes and routines, the development of customer-facing apps, and then on the lower end of the spectrum, the improvement of data modeling and visualization and development of mission-critical software solutions. I'd like to highlight this last one because it ties in with what you said about robustness. We are actually building mission-critical enterprise-grade applications with very complex business logic and integrations. So low code is nothing to laugh about. What are the key challenges? Also very important because it's not all roses. There are caveats and there are things we need to address. Lack of awareness and buy-in from stakeholders. We have a number of client challenges at the moment about setting up COEs and proper communication and change management programs to ensure buy-in from the business and ensure the adoption across the organizations. And we're seeing great benefits, and it's really good to see the excitement of the business that usually goes to IT and says, now I'm going to spend 6 months developing a requirements dossier, and it's going to take you 1 year to develop, and they start to see things after 2-3 weeks of development. So the time to market is very short. Governance framework, once this starts to scale up, cracks start to open, a lot of apps need to be managed, a lot of people start generating more and more ideas, as I mentioned, and yeah, this becomes a problem if not properly managed, so also helping our customers on this end. And then technical barriers inherent to the platforms. As you mentioned, not all platforms are the same. Security and compliance concerns, some are more fit than others, and of course the definition of the right operating model to make sure that we tackle low code appropriately from the get-go. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be governed and it needs to have guardrails and it needs to be managed. Okay?
Yeah, so I think the final slide really.
Food for thought.
Yeah, I think we don't. It doesn't have to be a constant debate between IT functions, citizen developer, COE in the middle. What's the best delivery model? What's the best operating model? I think these are different delivery models, channels, and the key is to maximize the return on investment. I don't think you can start applying some concept, very hard, stringent discipline concept when you want to enable citizen development. I think if you go into the delivery model where you have citizen-led low-code initiatives, it needs to follow a certain type of framework, a certain mindset. And if those users want to build some task automation, I want to be able to gather data from 3 data sources way faster than me going during 3 weeks into an Excel file, doing it manually. That's a task automation. That's great, I think. It's not going to impact the organization. It's not going to impact the security. Low governance impact. Usually the steps are predefined because these are building blocks that are configured, connectors that are dragged and dropped. They can't really deviate from whatever you are governing via the platform. And I think you need to let them go. These are usually local developments. You save hours. You can't really take a security structure compliance coming up and start scrutinizing what citizen developers are doing. You're going to kill the initiative. You're going to kill any innovation if you don't let them do whatever they need to do, but on this very certain predetermined constraints and screening approach where then when it goes to a certain screening, you know exactly that this can be done alone. Security is not going to be there. Compliance is not going to come with 20,000 requirements. They need to do it themselves. Then you have also not the delivery model where you start moving much more into sub-process automation, combination of multiple tasks that spans multiple process. You need the help of a COE to be able to guide them, understand what's right, what's wrong, being able also to manage the integration with back office together with IT. They need to be the enablers of starting to move away and building much more business unit led or line of business type of application. And last but not least, when you need really to start building huge enterprise grade with the help of low code, but low code doesn't offer you all the functionalities, all the building blocks, you need to leverage a DevOps, a technical team to help you actually extend these kind of developments. They need to be here because they need to go through all the security scrutiny, governance, auditors, building new blocks, connecting new connectors. All this stuff needs to happen. So it's not one way of doing it. It's multiple delivery models that enable each one to innovate, to maximize really what they want to do.
Cool. Awesome.
I think we've been quite fast.
I thought we were fast. I hope this was useful for all of you and it sets the scene for the next sessions. Happy to be here and hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thanks.